Here are 4 inspiring ideas I learned about recently that will help you conquer the world, love what you do, and make really good muffins. This first one will help you tap into an insane level of drive, especially if you're currently feeling behind in life, because that's exactly what happened to Julius Caesar.
When he's like 34, he is an up-and-coming Roman aristocrat. He's doing well, promising young kid, normal Roman, but you would not know the name of Julius Caesar at that age of 34. He's stationed in Spain, and he has this moment where he sees a statue of Alexander the Great. He starts weeping, and he says, "Do I not have reason to weep when I consider that Alexander at my age had accomplished so much, and in all this time I have not accomplished anything that is so great?" So Alexander the Great dies at age 35, and he has taken over the entire world, basically the known world at that point.
So if you're ever looking at a 16-year-old who makes $1 million a month with some vibe-coded AI startup, know that Julius Caesar felt behind in life too. But Caesar didn't let that demotivate him. Quite the opposite. He picked Alexander the Great as not just a role model, but a sacred rival, a competitor, someone that would push him more than he could ever push himself. And it became an obsession.
And he leaves his post, goes back to Rome, and is like, I got to figure this thing out. And he starts his climb from there. Then that's kind of the pivot point where he becomes Julius Caesar.
According to ancient sources, he always kept a copy of Alexander the Great's biography with him, even when he went to bed.
The name Caesar comes to literally mean ruler in Latin. And so that gets translated into German as Kaiser, and it gets translated into Slavic as Tsar. His name literally means king in like all of these languages, all throughout Europe for the next 2,000 years, which is amazing. Like his name, he succeeded so hard that we don't even know when we're saying king, we are saying Caesar.
And we see this everywhere. The movie Rush is based on the rivalry between James Hunt and Niki Lauda, who went head to head, but they brought the best out of each other. When you go to the gym by yourself versus with someone you respect, you push yourself way further than you normally would.
Aristotle defined it. He said that zeal is the feeling when one sees present in others who are like him in nature, great and admirable qualities which he is capable of possessing but does not yet have. I call it ambition porn. When you see someone else who's accomplished something and it resonates with you like, man, I could do that. I'm like that, but I haven't done anything. I'm a little bitch compared to this guy, you know, that like you're both simultaneously like mad and fired up.
If you don't have someone that you're competing with, even if it's just a friend of yours that you have a friendly rivalry with, you're missing out. So if you're looking for a big boost in motivation and you want to conquer your goals the way Caesar conquered the world, maybe it'd be good to pick a worthy opponent, someone who will push you further than you'll ever push yourself. This next one I found really surprising and very empowering.
So they did this study on classical musicians, and they had a blind panel of experts judge the quality, give it a score 1 to 5 or something like that. And what they found was that the greatest composers were Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, exactly who you would expect. However, the surprising thing is that the average quality of music was barely higher than their contemporaries.
So why is it that some musicians overall were only slightly above average, but we've all heard of Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, 50 Cent? It's because of the outlier rule, which is another thing that I just came up with.
It was just that they were the most prolific. Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart all just produced unbelievable volumes of music. You know, Bach is in there composing a new cantata every single week for like a decade for his local church. That means that they have volumes more great work than their near contemporaries, just because at a near average hit rate, you're going to produce more great stuff.
Picasso created an estimated 50,000 pieces of art. That's about 2 pieces a day for 70 years straight, and only about 50 of those are widely known today. That's a tiny hit rate, but the volume is insane. I think we've all heard this study or story of these 2 groups that were tasked with making the best clay pot possible. And the first group, they told them just make the best one you can. And the second group, they told them just make as many as you can and then you pick the best one. And then the second group absolutely crushed the first one, took their wives hostage, enslaved their babies, and that's how the Great Republic of Potistan was founded. To date, the greatest pot industry in the world. Maybe I added some things to the story because still inspired by the Caesar thing. But the point is, don't waste time overanalyzing and overthinking, trying to get it perfect. Go and make stuff, let it suck, learn from it, do it again. Whether you're developing an innovative product, or you're writing a blog, or you're an aspiring DJ or comedian, or you're just looking to make the best muffins, you just need to make way more iterations to get an outlier that is exceptional, and then you make the best muffins in the world. Next up, this one inspired me in a way where possibilities opened up that I never even considered before. So this guy is literally playing life like it's an RPG video game. His name is Patrick Friedman. He's the kind of guy who launches a company because he thinks it'd be cool to start new countries, but all the land is already taken. So he says, you know what? My vision is to build them on the ocean. So he founded the Seasteading Institute. It's backed by the billionaire Peter Thiel. And that's the sort of thing that you would do if you saw life as a game.
The long-term big mission is I want to make it so that people can start new countries, like they start companies today. And the reason is so that we can try out new things. Like innovation in technology and science comes from experiments. You have an idea, you try something out on a small scale. If it works, you scale it up.
And he even treats his own body like a Cyberpunk 2077 character, where he gets perks to level up his stats.
I had the mouth bacteria replacement from Lumina Probiotics, which should make it so I never get cavities. I have a chip in my hand right here that unlocks my Tesla and has my business card. Someone gave me the idea last weekend to like put it here so I can like fist bump someone's phone for like the bump contact.
That's insane.
I mean, it's such a cultural habit already of guys to fist bump each other. Like that should be the way to
Exactly.
like, hey, let's exchange phone numbers. All right, boom. And then he also did this gene therapy to level up his muscle mass.
The follistatin gene therapy, it's basically like because muscle is metabolically expensive, and in the old days when we evolved, we didn't have enough calories, your body does a lot to limit how much muscle you make. And it does this using a protein called myostatin. And then follistatin is your way of like turning down of your muscles, which turns it up. So it just tells your body, hey, there's enough calories, make more muscle. And it also has some similar effects on cardio. So the big effect for me, my cardio went through the roof. I was just running like way further for the same amount of effort in a way that was like unmistakable.
Would I give those level ups to my own character? As I've said in the previous video, never go full simulation. But it's so inspiring to see people who are too afraid to put out a tweet because they're worried about what other people think. And then you have someone like this who just does stuff. And I don't think that people like him just have more courage than the average person to go and do whatever they want. I think it's that they fundamentally see life differently. They see it more like a game. I think that's how Elon is memeing his way to Mars, or also how people like Donald Trump just stay so calm while the world is burning and everyone is criticizing him. And I think the 2004 quote from him perfectly describes his outlook on life that makes him able to do that. I try and tell myself it doesn't matter, nothing matters. If you tell yourself it doesn't matter, like you do shows, you do this, and you do that, and then you have earthquakes in India where 400,000 people get killed, honestly, it doesn't matter. That's how I handle stress. You can say what you want about Trump. That man is not stressed. But again, never go full simulation because you'll end up in jail. This next one I learned the hard way after banging my head against the wall for years and honestly wasting a good chunk of my 20s. I think we've all experienced this yo-yo effect before. That term is usually used in weight loss where people lose weight and then regain it again because their diet doesn't last and they go up and down. And I think it's the same thing with discipline, where you go tell yourself, I'm going to lock in, your discipline goes up. You do whatever routine you think will get you that trillionaire grind set productivity, but it doesn't last and you're back staying up late, snoozing your alarm, skipping the gym, whatever. And it's this constant up and down where every time you think you just got to be more disciplined and this time I'm really going to do it. It's literally like thinking we're going to make communism work. We just have to try a little bit harder. Like the hundreds of millions of people that died, let's just try harder. And it's like this constant up and down where you like lock in, fall back. And you're like, I have to lock in again, you fall back. But there is a way to make it consistent, and it's by actually having less discipline. This may be controversial, hear me out. I had Sam Ovens on the show again recently. He is the founder of the biggest community platform, School.com. It's a billion-dollar company. Alex Hormozi is one of his business partners, and he's just someone I've learned from a lot. He used to be the godfather of monk-like discipline, meditating daily, strict schedule, perfect clean diet. But then a couple of years ago, I spent a weekend with him and a few other entrepreneurs, and he went from the most disciplined person to just going with the flow. He stopped meditating and having a strict schedule. He focused on what he enjoyed most. And if something sucks to do, he asks himself, how can we stop doing that and just do what's fun and energizing? He used to make these videos that did really well, but he stopped doing it because he hated it. I mean, who would do that, right?
I think I've made it kind of clear to people that I didn't like making videos on YouTube, like talking head videos, right? But we saw some signs that we should be doing some more communication with our customers, sharing what we're doing and all of that. So then I thought, well, is there a way to do YouTube that is fun, that doesn't suck? And what I do consume a lot of is podcasts, like longer form, interesting conversations. I also know that doing it with someone is more fun, like going to the gym or whatever. I don't like cameras, I'm shy. What I do like doing though is working on my computer. So I was like, the computer has to be the centerpiece of this channel. And then the other thing is we talk about school, which is what I like to talk about. So I'm doing it with a friend. It's podcast, kind of long form style. I'm looking at my computer and talking about school. It's actually what I do naturally every day. I don't even feel like I'm making content. And so now I would say it's actually fun to make.
What he used to do with his old videos was eat the frog, power through, just use discipline and get it done. And he ended up quitting that entire business where he was teaching people to build a consulting business because it just required too much discipline, too much, I don't want to do this, but let me do it anyway. Let me push through. And now he needs very little, if any, discipline to work on school and make these videos that they make for school. And this is what I'll coin the discipline trap. It's when you have a lot of discipline, you can sustain one of these yo-yo cycles for much longer, forcing yourself to do something for years that you don't actually enjoy, but eventually you're going to crash hard. You're going to quit that business. You're going to question why you did it in the first place because you realize I can just do things that I enjoy more. Because I enjoy them more, I'll actually make better things. Then I can do it longer term. Therefore, I get better results and I can just play life on easy mode. You play life on easy mode, you get way more done, you get way more results, and you're happier. So the question to ask yourself is not, how can I be more disciplined to do that thing? But instead, how can I need less discipline? How can I make it fun? How can I make it enjoyable? Even if that means missing out on short-term results. Because business, life, relationships are all long-term games. And this is exactly what happened to me, right? I built this channel initially doing what I enjoyed, then decided to make bigger videos, more difficult projects, more editing. It required a lot of discipline. They went super viral, but I just had to push that discipline for 4 years until I crashed hard. I couldn't sustain it any longer. And then I quit the whole thing, and now I'm starting from scratch. One of the worst things that can happen in your career is that you become successful doing something you don't enjoy that requires a ton of discipline. And therefore, it's not sustainable. You'll eventually quit, and you have to start from scratch again. Like I am with the Driven podcast now. And I got more for you. The premise of the new channel is that fun and enjoyment is not a distraction from your biggest goals. It is actually the only way to achieve them. And this is what I dove into with Sam in this episode. How do they gamify their work in the company so that work is actually fun? How does he identify the most important thing to work on next? And then also how he makes decisions. And we also reacted to some funny clips from the self-proclaimed $1 trillion man, Dan Pena, that Sam had some strong opinions about. So go check out that episode here if you're curious, or just watch another video like this one, but with other things that I learned. I enjoy making these. Let me know if you like these too, and I'll see you in the next one.